Alright everyone, we start off today talking about gas prices, specifically legacy media propaganda with regards to it. Now keep in mind, as I reported many months ago, the legacy media is explicitly partnered with the White House now to spin economic data in order to try to fool people into thinking that the economy is not a pile of horseshit. And it is horseshit. Under Bidenomics, the economy in the United States is terrible. People know this when they go to the pump, when they go to the store, when they go to their job. Basically, they're reminded of it constantly, except when they're watching the so-called news. Every other time, they're well aware that the economy sucks. Then they watch CNN or listen to the AP, and they get an entirely different story. It's like basically like spit shining a turd. Link in the description, archived of course. Let's take a look at what the AP has to say about gas prices over the last few days. The Associated Press on Twitter. Of course, they're verified. They've got the blue badge of stupidity. The average U.S. price of regular grade gasoline plunged 19 cents over the past 2 weeks to $4.86 per gallon. There are so many problems with this, so let's get right into it. And the first problem is that $4.86 per gallon, not that many moons ago, was a record high in gas prices. It had already launched ahead almost $3 per gallon above historical norms. That is, that this is still, absent the last couple of weeks of the Biden price hike on gas, this would be a record high. Now the fact is that that's good that it moved in that direction. You know, that 19 cents a gallon is sort of like when they said, well, you saved 16 cents on your July 4th barbecue this year. That was last year. Of course, this year, even NPR was pointing out, hey, no, now the price on those exact same things is up by about $10 fucking dollars. So I hope you save that 16 cents because you're going to need it. So first and foremost, it's still astronomically high. It's much higher than it needs to be. If Biden hadn't attacked the energy industry and hadn't encouraged continued lockdownerism, especially in the port-heavy states of New York and California, our gas would probably be below $4 a gallon. It would be fairly low. I mean, it's historically high, but compared to this, it'd be a lot lower. The idea of having a gas tax holiday, which Biden has imposed, which is a positive thing, but it should never be necessary. The idea of cutting the gasoline with more ethanol. They're using the winter blend in summer now, just so people are aware. All of these freeing up the strategic reserves, which is really not meant for economic purposes. It's meant for wartime. It's meant for times of domestic strife. The idea is that if you have a mass disruption of everything in the United States, you can keep the economy going long enough for things to more or less repair themselves. That's why the fucking strategic oil reserve exists. Biden treats it like a piggy bank that he is taking from after other presidents have added into it. So $4.86 per gallon, you'll be surprised to believe that I don't find this particularly impressive. I noticed that this doesn't mention the diesel prices. Just to be clear, that regular unleaded gasoline that you put in your car is not the same as what's used by truckers or by large shipping vessels. Those use diesel fuel, generally speaking. That price is not mentioned. Why do I get the feeling that that means that it's higher somehow? I'm not even going to bother looking into it. You can do that and leave a link in the comments. I guarantee that it's higher. So there's the first couple of problems. The third problem is more dire. Let me explain. What this could reflect, and I'm not predicting this because it could be due to the gas tax holiday, strategic reserves, apparently Vladimir Putin has decided to lower the gas prices. Again, the propaganda is quite sheer. I've been told by the Biden administration and by others for the last month or so that Vladimir Putin is the one that caused the gas prices to rise. Biden has nothing to do with energy prices. Well, thank you, Putin. You saved people 19 cents per gallon on their gas. According to the logic that's been used by the Biden administration itself now for months, you are responsible for that price reduction. I don't know what Vlad Putin decided to do. Did he decide to bomb less Ukrainians today and the gas prices fell? Oh wait, that's right. That was always a lie too. It's entirely Biden's fault and the fault of lockdownerism and attacks on the energy industry. Here's the other problem. What this could reflect. Again, I want more economic data. We need new inflation reports. We need another month or two of joblessness reports. What it could represent is the beginning of stagflation. Let me explain. If people are doing less, that is, the prices have become so high, they've burned through their savings, the middle class by and large has, by the way, under Bidenomics. They've gotten fucked, and now they're fucked backwards as much as the working class is. If you have a huge segment of the economy cutting corners, they're not buying as much, they're buying less gas, they are starting to carpool, they are starting to avoid going out for any leisure activity. They're trying to drive less. They're doing everything that they can to reduce their usage of their money because they don't have enough money to actually maintain their lifestyle. What this will do, and there's a delayed reaction on this of some months, is that it will cause more joblessness. Because what happens is that if people are spending less, the economy contracts and employers are making less money. Well, if I'm making 10% less money, I don't need 10% of my employees. That's basically the only way I can cut costs. I can cut hours. I can put them on a part-time basis. I can say, well, I'm garnishing people's wages and shit like that. I could be a total sleazebag in the slums or something. Generally, though, it means I'm going to axe some employees. I got 100 employees, but I'm making 5% less. Okay, well, 5 of you people have to go. Otherwise, I'll only be able to keep the store open for an hour less a day or something like that. Sorry, Janitor Billy. Sorry, Clerk Sally. Sorry, Tommy, the worthless middle management consultant that I shouldn't need in the first place. You're unemployed now. This is called stagflation. The inflation gets bad enough that jobs begin to be lost because people are spending less, they're doing less, and there's less demand. That is that what this could reflect is a lowering of demand for the gasoline. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Again, I'm not predicting it openly yet. I need more data. But I wouldn't be surprised because when gas is approaching $5 a gallon, anything over $3 a gallon, even with the Bidenflation, is astronomical. We're well into the astronomical territory. We're somewhere out orbiting the moon right now with regards to gas prices. You need another drop of 50 cents to $1 per gallon probably before you obtain equilibrium. How many jobs will be lost as a result of that reduction in demand? Millions of them. Many millions. You're talking about unemployment going back up to 6-7% potentially. Well, that's not good. So we're right back where we were in the Great Recession. Except this time, unlike in the Great Recession, we also have significant inflation. How wonderful. Do you think that those prices, once they rise, tend to go down? Not by very much. You might get shrinkflation. Oh yeah, the price of this good hasn't changed in 10 years. What used to be 16 ounces is now 10 ounces. You've seen that Pringles has shrinkflated their products now, apparently, some of them. The Pringles can is now smaller. Not that you should eat them. They're terrible for your health. You should cut out the materialism. The problem is then the businesses make less money and then joblessness rises. Yeah, cut out the materialism. Grow your own food. But this is propaganda. To be clear, the White House probably put out an email to the AP prior to this story being dropped. Well, call it a gas price plunge and give Biden and the Biden administration credit, even though you have spent literally months wiping our ass, cleaning Joe Biden's butt, and saying that Putin was responsible for all of those price hikes. Well then, who's responsible for the slight reduction? And I do say slight. It's not even 20 cents over the course of 2 fucking weeks. How many hot dogs can a person buy in a week? They're transiting to and from work, probably 5 days. Maybe they're transiting to the store and not just doing a byline on Friday to the store on the way back home. How many hot dogs? How many candy bars? Let's look at tangible goods, not the dollar amount, but the actual amount it can purchase. What can they actually buy with the amount that they save from that 20-cent reduction? A coconut? A bundle of bananas? Well, that's good. They can get their potassium. A pack of hot dogs and some buns. And maybe they'll be able to get a bottle of fucking ketchup to go with them. Yeah, hold the chili, hold the relish and mustard and mayo and all of that shit. Hold the goat cheese, as I like to put on my hot dogs, by the way, along with the sweet chili. Okay, so a few bites of food. Yeah, maybe $5 or something like that. It's better than it moving in the other direction, arguably, although again, this could have something to do with the Fed's interest rates, lowering demand across the board, and it could be reflected, by the way, in consumer spending in other markets. It is not just gasoline that is at a record high, and it is near that record high. And who's to say that it doesn't go back up 20 cents over the next month? We've seen a huge amount of volatility. I remember when the legacy media a few months ago, I think it was May or was it, no, March or maybe April or something. You remember when inflation ticked down by 0.2 and they said, well, peak inflation is here, everything's rosy, see, Bidenomics works. After an entire year and a quarter of nonstop economic damage, it's finally kicked in and working. What did it do next month, and what was so goddamn predictable? It ticked back up by 0.3 or 0.4. So again, new record high in inflation since the 1970s. It's going in a terrible direction. Unfortunately, I'm inclined to believe that this is the beginning of stagflation within the United States. This could be a harbinger of that. Go get your goods now. It's the economic damage of Bidenomics is not going to stop until at least after the midterms, when his administration becomes a lame duck and can no longer pass a budget without negotiating with the GOP. And a lot of them will be MAGA GOP, by the way. Get your food, stock up, work that extra shift, and put all of that money into preparing for what will be an actual dark winter. Won't be because of COVID, though. It'll be because of Bidenomics. Unfortunately, that is now my prediction. A recession and stagflation. That's about all. Peace out.